this series, we will examine several characteristics of religion that threaten our very existence: faith, irrationality, and dogmatism. We apologize in advance for the offense that many will inevitably take to this serious and frank look at religion. However, we can all agree that the truth of a matter is not dependent on the desired outcome. If wishful thinking could make something true, we'd all be rich, young, beautiful, and healthy. We rely on evidence and past experiences when determining truth. Whether it's picking a doctor or buying a car, we all use our rational mind to accomplish our goals. That is, everything except our spiritual goals. It is not enough to simply want to be a good person, love our family and friends, and to help others when we are able to. For some reason, we must also believe that there is an invisible creature behind it all, causing this feeling. Yet, when we hold our spiritual endeavors under the same light as any other, we find that there is no evidence for such beliefs. At least, none is convincing enough to explain the various deities of the major religions. There have been many people that have experienced miracles and attributed them to a specific saint or deity of a particular religion. We can take it for granted that each of these religions, to some degree, is incompatible with each other. That is to say, if one of these religions' miraculous claims is true, all the others must be false. The obvious solution to any honest and rational person is that they are all false. When considered objectively, all arguments for the existence of one deity or another fail in a similar manner. Faith has surrounded most of us in a bubble, rendering us incapable of examining our own religion with the same objectivity as others. If you are a Christian, chances are you can see plainly that Islam is a false religion and that the Quran is not the work of an omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent being. It is not only false, but filled with violent, ignorant, and severely detrimental teachings. You know what it's like to be an unbeliever. You do not have faith in Islam or the Prophet Muhammad. You have made a conscious choice to demand proof of a religious claim before accepting it. Yet the Bible is no better. Leviticus 24:16. Anyone who blasphemes the name of the Lord must be put to death. The entire assembly must stone him. Whether an alien or native born, when he blasphemes the name, he must be put to death. Deuteronomy 22:23-24. If a man happens to meet in a town a virgin pledged to be married, and he sleeps with her, you shall take both of them to the gate of that town and stone them to death. The girl, because she was in a town and did not scream for help, and the man, because he violated another man's wife. You must purge the evil from among you. For those Christians who would claim that Jesus did away with those laws, let me quote you this passage from Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5:17-20. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. I tell you the truth, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Anyone who breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. Anyone who claims this is the work of an omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent being cannot also claim that it loves us completely or is anything close to absolute goodness. For many evangelical Christians, this fits right in with their theological view. Every flood, earthquake, hurricane, tornado, and tsunami is given credit to God's anger at abortion, condoms, or homosexuality. Not all, but some of the teachings of Jesus are noble indeed. However, they are nothing new. In fact, many moral statements were made better and earlier by other notable figures centuries before Jesus. Yet it's not the tenets of each religion that is the root of the problem. Faith is the problem. Faith destroys our ability to think critically and rationally. Faith is a constant source of death and suffering. Of course, the tenets of many beliefs cause immense harm in their own right. the beliefs of Islam concerning martyrdom and jihad, or the beliefs of Christianity regarding abortion, embryonic stem cell research, and sexual education are just a few examples. But faith is what allows otherwise intelligent adults to accept the unsupported claims behind these deadly beliefs. With Christians, their blindness to the damage their beliefs cause others is staggering. The human papillomavirus, HPV, is the name of a group of over 30 sexually transmitted viruses. According to the Center for Disease Control's website, approximately 20 million people are currently infected with HPV. At least 50% of sexually active men and women acquire genital HPV infection at some point in their lives. By age 50, at least 80% of women will have acquired genital HPV infection. About 6.2 million Americans get a new genital HPV infection each year. In rare cases, cervical cancer results from an HPV infection. Thousands of women die each year from cervical cancer. For the Christian right, these deaths are an acceptable loss for scaring teenagers into abstaining from sex. There is a vaccine for several forms of HPV, but according to the Family Research Council, giving this life-saving vaccine to women could be potentially harmful because they may see it as a license to engage in premarital sex. Those of us that have lost someone to cancer know exactly how harmful the reality of the situation is. The Christian stance on condom use and stem cell research is equally as devastating to human life. Over 2 million people die each year from AIDS. Most of these deaths are in highly religious, poverty-stricken, underdeveloped nations. In these areas, where there is little or no other information on condoms, Christian missionaries lie to naive and unsuspecting locals. With lethal effects, the locals are told not to use condoms because they have tiny holes in them through which HIV can pass. These are just a few examples from one religion. For what end is all this human suffering? What purpose does it serve? The absurdity of it all is that there is no purpose. These inhumanities persist merely because some ancient scribe did not have the foresight to predict contraceptives, viruses, genetics, or molecular biology. The vague, self-fulfilled prophecies that Christians point to in the Bible are nothing compared to the vast ignorance of what wasn't predicted. Yet again, even if all of these errors were non-existent, that would not solve the problem of religion. The problem is faith. The problem is the idea of accepting unfounded claims as truth on the promise of something in the afterlife. This is not only wrong, but has lethal results. One needs to look no further than the Manhattan skyline to realize the stark and horrifying truth of the matter. There is a realm of spirituality beyond religion and transcendent experiences to be had without accepting unfounded claims and mystical nonsense. Only when we are ready to approach spirituality logically and rationally will we ever hope to obtain anything useful from it. In the following videos, we will examine the facts. We will examine many different religions, denominations, sects, and cults, and determine how they came to be, what they believe in, and how they affect the secular world at large. But most of all, it will serve as a testament to the victims of faith, irrationality, and dogmatism.